All right, so we've looked at graphing lines and we've looked at just getting slope. Now we kind of do the reverse. Now we're looking at writing equations of lines. Okay, and so I want to do several of these. So problem number 24 gives you a graph, and it winds up, my graph that I have looks like this, and it highlights this point, and you can see that it's up at 6. Then the other one that they highlight turns out to be like, well, this graph doesn't really match the picture very well. Let me try that again. Oops. Okay, so it shows a point up here. Okay, and then it shows a point that's over here. And you can kind of see it's real nice and bold right here. And so I can see that this point appears to be at 3, -5, and this point appears to be at 0, 6. But I really don't normally do the ordered pairs. I don't want you necessarily trying to identify those, because a lot of times you make mistakes when you try to identify them. You don't need to. All right, so this particular one says they want the equation of the line. So it says, write an equation for the line on the right. It says, type your answer in slope-intercept form. Use integers or fractions. So they want it to look like this. So if we could find the slope and find the b-value, we'd have it. So what you really do is you just look at your graph, and you can see it crosses the y-axis at 6. So you know right here you're going to put a 6. And then to get the slope, you don't really identify these coordinates and then type into the formula. You're opening yourself up to making mistakes, and you're making it harder than it needs to be. What I would recommend you do is just count to find the slope. So this would be 6 to here, down 6. This is going down 5 more, it appears. So that would be going down a total of 11. And then from there, I'm going over 1, 2, 3 to get to that spot, over to the right 3. So I went down 11 and to the right 3. So when I'm thinking about my slope, I'm thinking rise over run. I'm going to think down 11 and to the right 3. So I get a -11/3. And so what I'll do is put in the -11/3 where the x would be. Don't forget that. Wait. Put in the -11/3 where the m is in front of the x. Don't forget the x, and then have +6. Most people who miss it forget to put the x in there. But -11/3 is the coefficient, is the number in front of the x. So that's what they're looking for. Okay. Now number 25 says, write the equation of the line. So it still starts off that. It wants an equation. See, make sure you look for that. If it wants the equation, they don't just want the slope. Write an equation of the line passing through a point having the given slope. And so it gives you this point and the slope, and it wants you to come up with an equation for that line. Okay. So this is the time when it really helps to go pull the point slope formula off the formula sheet. You'll have a formula sheet. And so the point slope formula says this. Okay, now there are other ways to do this, but with us not being able to be together, I chose to just show you the one way that most people have the best luck with. So this is an x and a y of some specific point. So the -8 goes where the y1 is. The 4 goes where the x1 is. The slope of -4 goes where m is. So you have y, and you got to be careful because the formula has a minus. And then you put in your y1 equals the negative, and then it was -4. Oops. Let me just move these down a little bit. Then it was -4. And then the x minus, and then x1 was +4. And then you've got really the equation at that point. It's just not in the correct form. So from here down, you're just going to do some cleaning up. You're going to distribute. Okay. And when you distribute, make sure you're doing negative times a positive would be negative, and that's 4x. Negative times a negative would be positive. 4 times 4 is 16. Y minus a negative would become y plus 8. So what we're doing from here down is trying to get to y equals mx plus b. So we have the equation, but we're trying to get it in the correct form. So now we'll take away 8 from both sides, and we wind up with y equaling negative 4x plus 8. And then be careful when you're typing it in. Now, I'll go back and give you credit if you mess up on that. But this one said, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form is, so you have to put all of that in there. The previous one, number 24, says the equation said it differently. It actually said the equation of the line is y equals, and then had a blank. So all you really typed in on that would have been the negative 11/3 x plus 6. Okay, those kind of mistakes I'll go back and give you full credit on. That's why you're going to submit your work to me, okay? That's why you're going to turn in your work. All right, so now let's look at kind of a tricky one. So here's one, number 27, that says write an equation of the line. Okay, so it doesn't want slope, it wants the equation of the line. And your line is supposed to go through the 0.45 and be horizontal. Okay, it really, I would almost insist that you plot the point and look at it. So here's the 0.45. Okay, I want the line to be horizontal. So that means this way, like the horizon. So study that. See how that's one of those special lines? And I didn't want you memorizing it, but I wanted you knowing how to figure it out. So look at that line and see how every single point on that line is always up at the same level. So doesn't that mean that every one of those points, if I were to put them in the table, besides that one, wouldn't all the rest of them have a y of 5? That's the equation for this one. Y equals 5. That's your answer. Okay? And you have to know to put the y equals on that. All right, they're going to have answer choices on that one. Like they might say x equal 4. Another one was y plus 5 equals 4. And then another one was x plus y equals 9. Okay, the two that are somewhat logical are the first one and the second one. This one, though, would be a vertical line through that point. This one's the horizontal line like you need. Okay? All right, now, the next group deal with parallel and perpendicular. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video.